Let me tell you about MPM. McAllister Precision Marketing. They can assist up-and-coming racers with career advancement, promotion, and assist in sponsorship procurement. MPM also has media and professional etiquette training. They work with premier driver development teams and limited late models to late models. And they also help the teams to make it up to the levels of K&N, ARCA, Truck Series, and even NASCAR Xfinity. Contact Tanya McAllister today at McAllister Precision Marketing, 803-361-6199. Today, get on the board with MPM.
CrateInsider.com is your one source for crate racing tech and more. Whether you currently race with a crate engine or you are thinking about getting into the sport, our website has what you need. CrateInsider.com has tech videos, interviews with experts, and the best products in the industry. Dyno tested and proven, so we know they are the best products for crate engines. Visit CrateInsider.com today to get on the fast track to victory lane.
If you have not ordered at DirtCarLift.com in the motorsports racing world, you are absolutely way behind. But if you are an existing customer of the Dirt Car Lift product, you already know about why they use the concept of stop jacking and start lifting. DirtCarLift.com helps make things very easier in the pit area. Whether you need to change a flat tire, make a shock or spring adjustment, DirtCarLift.com can get all four sides up immediately, then have it go around from side to side to car to car. By the way, they have a special package and price for existing customers with a few changes to make your life a little easier. Give them a call at DirtCarLift.com today. Call them up again at 770-898-3907. 770-898-3907. And find out why the concept is true. To stop jacking and start lifting with DirtCarLift.com at the races today.
This is Finish Line.
This episode is an exclusive production solely for the private, non-commercial use of our listening audience. Any publication, reproduction, transmission of the accounts without the express written consent or permission is restricted and prohibited. To hear this replay or other previous podcasts, download on iHeartRadio, iTunes Radio, and TuneIn. As always, this show is for you. Thank you for listening.
This is Finish Line. Undisputed, unrealistic, unscripted, and unrehearsed. This is Finish Line, a weekly podcast talking about the positive and negative of motorsports, asking the questions to drivers, promoters, and personalities, getting the information and responses of the sport others dare not to ask or even discuss. This is Finish Line. This radio podcast is from the heart, an in-depth analysis of everything in NASCAR, NHRA, IHRA, IndyCar, grassroots motorsports, asphalt, dirt, drag racing, karting, tractor pulling, boat racing, demolition derbies, and much more. From touring events to national, regional, weekly, and more. This is the podcast where the bull stops here. Whether it's asphalt, dirt, or drag racing, or anything else in life, there is always a finish line. Now, he's a respected veteran broadcaster with over 20-plus years experience calling all forms of sports for public address, TV, and radio, from NASCAR to the grassroots. Please welcome your host, Wesley Outland. This is Finish Line.
Good morning, and we welcome you to the 2021 finale of Finish Line. Hard to believe we have reached the end of the year. This is our final show first. Got a great guest lineup lined up for you. But this is our final show of the 2021 season. Could not do it without the help of all of our sponsors. And yes, look at me. Charles, you jump in here, dude. Look at me. I'm all decked out. Shirt and tie look good, don't I?
I'm
You ready to go to church?
Later. I am
I just figured it was the occasion. Put on the shirt and tie. Got a great show here for you. One more time, one more send-off before we reach the finish line of 2021. We all embark in what should be a great 2022 season. I am Wesley Outlet. He'll put the name across the scroll on the bottom. We welcome you to Finish Line. As always, use the hashtag Finish Line. Got a great show for you. We're not going to waste any time. Man, what a great, I'm telling you. The people that I've got scheduled are for reason and rhyme. And I appreciate all of them joining me. So we got 6 great guests. Even my producer's going to join me in the last segment. And my last segment's going to be my producer to talk about dirt track racing. He loves dirt track racing. He loves late models. He loves modifieds. He loves RC cars, playing in the dirt. So we're going to... So we got our final... Exactly, I'm not wrong. So our final segment is going to go out to my buddy, Cody Wood. Anyhow, a lot of great more guests. One's already lined up. They're in the box. They're in the hot seat. Go. Keep you up our lineup. Here's today's guest for the finale of 2021, December 15th finish line right here today. All right, kicking thing just a couple of moments. We told you we had to reschedule with him last week. He's ready to go today. He's already in the hot seat. The driver, of course, at the Georgia, the 2021 54th Annual Snowball Derby champion. It is the Toyota Racing Development man of Chandler Smith. Chandler Smith will be joining us here in next, a matter of fact, like mere seconds. This guy still got it. 51 years old and still kicking. I remember watching this man race when I was a kid at Southern National back in the day. He picked up a big win on Saturday Carriers Christmas Clash of Champions at the Carteret County Speedway, South Boston, Virginia's Stacy Puryear will be joining us at 11:25 Eastern Time. At 11:35 Eastern Time, we're going to go to my buddy in Charlotte, North Carolina, or actually in Concord at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, where they're actually doing the next-gen testing today for the Christmas break. Doug Rice, the lead announcer, and the president general manager of the Performance Racing Network will be joining us. That's just hour number 1. Then we go into hour number 2, which will continue with Chris Moeller of the Checkered App. We'll have a lot of information about what the Checkered App is, what it entails, how you can be able to get all the details and information of what it's going to be for a new motorsports social platform. Matter of fact, we started putting some of the Finish Line shows on the Checkered App in the last couple of weeks, the last month or so. Next year, we're going to go full coverage with it on the Checkered App. And there's a lot of other cool ideas. It's also in the works, too. And Chris Moeller will talk to us about that. Probably my favorite interviewer of the entire year. Out of Tonawanda, New York, Andy Jankowiak. He runs Modifieds. He runs the Menard Series National Tour. Super great guy. He was also awarded the Speedway Illustrated Ken Schrader Driver Excellence Award at PRI. And he's just a great man. From a pizza delivery man to a driver chasing the dream to be a NASCAR driver, great. Andy Jankowiak will be on. And then finally, Charles will be joining me to talk about dirt track racing, where we are, where we're going, where we're headed. And that's it. Yeah. We're not wasting no time. Let's go right into the box. Our first guest is ready to go. The man that won the 54th Snowball Derby. He drives for Toyota Racing Development. He's in there ready. He's joined us before on Finish Line when it used to be radio coverage, but now you can see his mug on the camera. Of course, Chandler Smith. Chandler, Merry Christmas to you, buddy, and congratulations on winning the Snowball Derby, man. I know there was some controversy. I moved him out of the way. Hey, I had to do what I had to do to win. I think that's all subsided now, man. But, like you said in driver intros, you've had a pretty difficult year. The opportunity presented itself to try to win the biggest race in super late models in the country on pavement. You went for it. Welcome to Finish Line.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys. Thank you for having me on the show this morning.
Not a problem, bud, man. Hey, listen, we appreciate your scheduling as well. I know that you're part of Toyota Racing Development. You got a crazy schedule. Things change with logistics and moving meetings around and PRI and so much more. So, all right, so let's go back to a couple of weeks ago. What was the mindset going into the Snowball Derby with the Donnie Wilson team? We had your car on last week, and he was on cloud nine about what you did. And it means so much to him, whether being a driver or a car owner, to win that Tom Dawson trophy. He really said he sensed something special in you last week when you were down there at Pensacola.
Yeah, for sure. It was a crazy week because on top of all that, we had our test. We tested the Saturday before the race, and we had some problems go on at our test. And I had to go to the backup car and wait on the other car to get ready for me. The car that I ended up racing was the one I had problems with. Ran 5 laps and the engine blew up. So we had to change engines in that. So I went to the white car, the one I've ran all year, and ran some laps. I got it dialed in a little bit, then went back to the black car and wanted to pick which one I wanted to race, which one I was happy with. Ended up picking the black car, but right after that, I flew out the next day to go to Nashville for the NASCAR Awards banquet, and I didn't get back until Thursday, well, technically Friday morning at 4 a.m., and I had to get up at 7 a.m. to be at the racetrack, and so I was running on 3 hours of sleep, and we went out, did 2 mock runs. It was pretty good. Went out, qualified, got second, was all good there, but yeah, it was a special deal, especially for us as Wilson Motorsports. We've had a really big year in general. I was able to pick up the first win that Wilson's ever had at Five Flags, their first Derby. There was a lot of milestones hit this year, a lot of goals that were reached, but we're not going to stop any shorter than that.
Certainly, man. And I'll tell you what, your take of things. Let's get you here on finish line. You're in the cockpit. The race is probably it was the fastest race on record. I think they said it was 2 hours and 5 minutes, which was even quicker than the record from the year before.
Yep.
Derek Thorne kicking butt, taking names, leading almost 283 of the 300 laps. And then there's the caution. The late race caution, the caution that was going to be, obviously, you knew it was going to happen. We knew it was going to happen because it was basically said, hey, you're going to go this sequence of laps, and if there's this sequence of laps, then the caution's going to be thrown. Was it strategy? Was that what made you sit back and wait for this moment? And then tell us what it was like going after him on the restart.
Yeah, for sure. It definitely was strategy. Early on, that first little stint of the race before I had a pit, there was a few things I was already able to pick out that I seen that he was a little better than us, and there's places I could pick out that we were better than him. So I was able to start building a notebook of, okay, this is where we're better than him, this is where he's better than us at. And then once I had to make a pit stop, came back through the field, got up to him, I was able to kind of re-baseline and see where we were as far as where our weaknesses and strengths were stacked up to him as well. So I kind of recognized that pretty quickly, came up with a game plan for the last pit stop and what we needed to do. We kept our cards close to our chest all day, and we didn't show them till the very end. And just like I said in my post-race interview too, and it was incredible. I have experience with aero racing now, coming from the truck series a little bit. I got a first full season under my belt, so I'm able to recognize little aero situations when I come back to super late model racing at some of these faster racetracks. So with that being said, one of the biggest things that I fought all day and that made him so dominant was clean air. And once I did get out front, like, it drove night and day different, just like it did in a truck. Not as drastic, but it definitely drove completely different. And it definitely helped. It helped with consistency and just building up. I mean, I had about a straightaway lead, maybe a little bit of a straightaway lead at the end of the race. So, but with that being said, there was little things I was able to pick out here and there that I felt like he was a little better than us, and I knew the direction we had to go to not hurt where we were better than him at, but to kind of gain on where he was better than us at a little bit. And we just had to execute on the restart. And just like you said, it was the biggest race of the year. To be honest with you, I felt like we should have won every big race this year. But we've had some misfortune. And God, like I said before the race, God's timing's everything. And I wouldn't trade his timing and all of the unfortunate situations for anything in the world because that's the way he made it out to be. So with that being said, he ran me up the racetrack getting into one. I was able to still get a good run off of two. I was about quarterback from him. I was still on his bumper. And he was free all day. He was a little free on entry, getting into three before I even got to him. But obviously got into him a little bit. And but at the end of the day, hey, it's the snowball derby. He would have done the same exact thing. So
If you had to go back and do it again, would you do it the exact same way or would you do things differently?
So if everything played out with him running me up the racetrack and all that stuff was the same, and I knew that was going to happen, I would have adjusted my turn one a little differently to where I would have had a bigger run off of two, even with him trying to drive me up the racetrack. And we would have probably been side by side down the back straightaway. And then I would have crossed him over into three or tried to. But at the same time, we can sit here and talk about, yeah, if you could rerun it, what would you do different, this, that, and other. But at the end of the day, I got the Derby trophy sitting right here. So it was a win in my books. It was a win. It was a win in Wilson Motorsports books. And we're moving on to 2022 at this point.
Chandler Smith joining us again from Toyota Racing Development, winner of the Jasper, Georgia native of the Snowball Derby here on Finish Line. Coming up, Stacy Puryear in about 10 minutes from now. Doug Rice on the way in hour number one. Chandler, tech. One of the big things that was talked about was tech. What's your take of the technical status of things? Did it take too long? Do you feel like it's become the Ricky Brooks tech show? People are kind of at it. People don't understand it. Or do you feel like you have to go through this strenuous process? Honestly, it's part of racing.
Yeah, for sure. It's part of racing, and there was already accusations made towards myself and the team about having this, that, and other, saying we were being illegal and all this stuff. So I was fine with it. Everybody was like, dude, why are you so relaxed? You're literally getting tore all down. I was like, we have nothing to hide, so I'm just waiting on us to get the clear, and we'll take the trophy on. There's nothing that they're gonna find that's illegal, nothing that's not in the rule book. Like everything was legal on our car. We read the rule book and we build our cars and stay in between what Ricky set, and that's what we do. So with that being said, this kind of cleared our name from all of the people that would make accusations all year saying that, like, I heard crazy crap, people saying that we had traction control, something to do with our engine where it had a RPM spike or something like that. I don't know. There's a bunch of accusations out there, the craziest things ever. And so I'm glad that it took that long, and I'm glad that he tore us all the way down that far so we could clear our name.
Sure. And when it's all said and done, and I've said this on several occasions as well, you got to go through tech, but what gets me is these people on social media. Here we go with these pariahs on social media again. These guys they think are guys or gals, they get behind a keyboard and all of a sudden they think they're God's gift of motorsports and they have all the great Pumbaa answers to running the industry. The sad reality is the only time you hear them bitch and complain is right there whenever they're on a keyboard. They don't step up. They don't go to the racetracks.
No.
9 times out of 10, you really don't hear anything from them. But they think they have the great answers of what makes the sport work.
Yeah, the amount of people I've seen saying just all these absurd comments about tech and also about between me and Thorne, the move I made on him, the comments and stuff I see, and I see the people that are making them, like, dude, there's no way you're sitting here saying these things, and I do more research on you and stuff, and you would do the exact same thing. I come from a small town. I come from absolutely nothing, honestly. Growing up, I got an opportunity with Toyota Racing Development. They picked me up from there, and that's where my career spiked off even more from there. But before then, I came from, we family-owned and everything. So I race every race like it's my last race, basically. Granted, people that's followed me all my life will tell you they've never seen me race like that before because I never had.
Right.
Prime example, me and Jeff Chiquette at Winchester 400, I think it was 2019 or 18, we raced side by side for 30 laps for the Winchester 400. We touched one time. And everybody, I mean, it was clear. And Jeff will tell you this too. Like, I was faster than him. He even told me at Governor's Cup this year, he's like, you gave me that win. I was like, no, man, I have a tremendous amount of respect for you, same as I do with Thorne. But I also took into account that I heard that may have been his last race of the year. He had a kid coming along. He has a family. I was like, I'm 13, 14 years old at this time. He could use this money better than I can. I'm going to choose to race him with extra respect. When it comes to the snowball derby, though, it's a little different.
So you're actually saying, Chandler, you backed away. You literally gave him the nod and said, "Look, have at it. Go after the win.
I'm
I'm not
saying
going
that
to
I
try to
gave him
force this
extra
on you."
respect. I drove him with extra respect. If I could have stayed side by side and cleared him, I wouldn't have gave him the lead back. No, but I also wasn't going to go off in there like the year before, where I think it was Sargent, Raphael, and somebody else, where they all were just wrecking each other and stuff, and it looked horrible. But I wasn't going to do anything like that. I was going to drive him really clean and respectfully, and that's the way I did it. So, at the end of the day, I had so many people tell me, like, dude, you did not race him at all. You just let him go. And I was like, no, I raced him clean and hard. And at the end of the day, yeah, I didn't live up to some people's expectations of using the bumper and stuff, but also other people don't think about how fast you're going to Winchester. You use the bumper on somebody in Winchester, you're probably going to tear a race car up too. So there's always that.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about all these things as I'm driving too. And I try to drive people. I do drive people with a lot of respect, but at the same aspect, like I was just saying, all these keyboard warriors talking about I have no respect, this, that, and other. I've never worked on a race car a day of my life.
Sure.
They obviously have not followed me for my whole career.
And you know what, Chandler? We have a few more minutes with you, about 5 more minutes, and we'll let you go because I know you got a crazy schedule, and I appreciate you rescheduling with us. But the thing is this, you've gone through some roller coaster rides this year. I mean, there's been times that I've followed your events where, man, you were doing really good. You were right there in contention, and something would break on the car, whether it be the rear end went out or an engine went out or some type of woes. And it's like, okay, I'm going into the biggest race of the year. What else can go wrong? And the only thing that really went wrong in the socials world is, well, this guy ran this guy up the racetrack and he tried to win the biggest race in America for pavement racing,
Yeah,
But
and that's
I
the
will
thing
tell
that a lot
you
of
that
people don't
amongst the
see.
negative, yeah, go ahead. I was going to say amongst the negative people, you've had more positive support as well, for sure.
For sure, 1,000%. That's what my biggest thing too was these group of guys that have been thrashing. They should have had 3 big wins under their belt, including myself. But because of mechanical failures, it's nobody's fault. They're just freak things. They're little gremlins. And we can't control it. We sit here, we replaced every single thing on these cars, and it still happened. You know what I mean? And but anyways, it doesn't change the fact that we should have all still had wins. And I was like, we deserve this win. Donnie deserves this win as much as he's been racing at Five Flag Speedway, participating in the Snowball Derby. This would mean the world to everybody, all my partners. It was my first race with my new partner, Fuel Me, Valtech Fuel, or Valtech Marine Fuel, and merging vets and players. I was like, this will be awesome portfolio, a good start off for everything, especially going into the 2022 season. Not many people know, with my truck series, I ended the season off with a win, and now I'm ending the Super Late Model season off with a win too. That's got a lot of great momentum, a big confidence booster for myself. And I'm excited about getting into 2022.
Chandler, final question, and we'll let you go. A couple of years ago at Nashville, I was on the broadcast call for Racing America on Speed 51 with Bob Dillner. Casey Roderick, Mason Mingus, yourself, you're amongst everybody in the pack trying to race, trying to get around. Casey Roderick was driving for Donnie Wilson. We talked about this last week with a car owner. What made the decision, Chandler, amongst all of those crazy shenanigans that went on a couple of years ago, to drive for Donnie Wilson Motorsports and win the Snowball Derby with Donnie Wilson? And you look at what Donnie Wilson's also done with the Canadian Cole Butcher, and then, of course, you see the success that Sammy Smith has had this year as well, like winning the rifle at the Winchester 400. What was the reason behind hooking up with Donnie Wilson?
The biggest thing is because, honestly, is because of the relationship me and him already had beforehand. Granted, me and him didn't talk as much as we do now, but anytime we see each other at the racetrack, we sit there and talk for 30 minutes or so, and we always used to joke, like, hey, one day I'll come race for you, And anyways, I always kind of thought about that. I love Donnie as a guy. All his morals and values and what he has drive for his race team and how he goes about things as an organization and a race team fits everything that I would do. And I love that about it because it's not many people have the same mentality as myself, and he does. So with that being said, there's a tremendous amount of respect. And also, I've seen an opportunity of growth. I've seen an opportunity of growth in myself and also as the team. And I wanted to see if what I brought to the table could help grow that team and excel more. And I'd like to say that ever since I've came on board, I was a pretty big factor on that growth chart.
Well, Bud, well, listen, Chandler, we could keep you on for another hour. I'd love to, but unfortunately, we have a lot of guests for the season finale of Finish Line. Thank you for rescheduling. But before I do let you go, my friend, thank your sponsors on Toyota Racing Development. And what's your plans for NASCAR in 2022, by the way?
Yeah, for sure. So I'll be back in the number 18 Safe Light Auto Glass Toyota Tundra, and full time, of course. And then I'm going to be running a lot of super late model races with Donnie again. I'm actually I'm going to start kind of a driver development program deal in house there. Kind of a side partner with Donnie now. That kind of all happened after the Derby, so I'm really excited to be partners with him as well. Just like I told you, kind of something that influenced that idea and so on and so forth is the relationship me and him has business-wise, but also on a personal level. Our ambitions, our drive, and everything mentality-wise all lines up perfectly for the goals that we have set for, like, at the end of the day, when I first walked into the doors of Wilson Motorsports and got fitted for a seat for the Winchester 400 to now, it's a lot different as an organization as far as how much we've grown together. And I would like to say, just like I said earlier, that I've been a really big part of how we've grown, and I've brought a lot to the table to help excel that and make it faster. So with that being said, just like I said to Matt Weaver after the Derby, I want to keep racing super late models till I retire if I can. And with that being said, I've thought about it all year. I was like, well, here's my thing. Like, I'm serious about that when I say it. Either I'm going to have my own race team and all my own equipment like I did before, or I'm going to have a part ownership with a team owner that I really enjoy driving for and help build that organization up a little more. And God's time is perfect. Everything was perfect about this opportunity. There was no negatives to it. There was no downsides. It was nothing but for room for growth. And we took it, and now I'm really excited about going into 2022 and more of the adventures.
That's awesome, man. Well, listen, Merry Christmas to you and the new wife. Happy New Year. We'll see you at the racetrack in 2022 down in Daytona and Speed Weeks. And congratulations in the most prestigious short track race in America, Snowball Derby, and joining us to celebrate it on Finish Line.
Yep. Thank you, guys. Take it easy. Have a good Christmas.
Not a problem, buddy. Yes, sir. You too, buddy. From Toyota Racing Development out of Jasper, Georgia, it is Chandler Smith, our first guest on Finish Line. It is the 2021 season finale. You're in the hot seat. I'm Wesley Outland. We go right back to our next guest, not wasting any time. And now we go from Chandler Smith to the man that's got the big check behind him. I used to sit in a small grandstand out of turn number 4 as a kid and watch this man run what used to be the Firebird Cup or the Thunderbird Cup series in late models and late model sportsmen at Southern National. He still kicks them. He runs on the Solid Rock Carriers Cars Tour, runs big races when he can, and he won another big race at Carteret County Speedway this past Saturday in the 10,000 to win Battle Clash of Champions, Race of Champions, Christmas Clash from South Boston, Virginia. 51-year-old, still kicking wing, Stacy Puryear. Welcome to Finish Line, buddy. Good to have you on, man.
Hey, Wesley, glad to be here, buddy. Couldn't be more excited.
It's always good. Yes, sir, definitely. Hey, listen, when I talked to you about Carteret County was probably Thanksgiving weekend at Southern National at the Thanksgiving Classic, and you were like, we're going to go down there to Carteret. We don't know where we got. We feel confident. We like this place. And I believe, Wesley, I think we can win this race. What was the strategy to be there at the end to get that $10,000 payday, which, because of weather and there was a lot of delays with track drying and the entire change of the race happened. Now, obviously, you're thinking of a daytime start at 1 o'clock. That didn't happen. You're racing under the lights. The strategy to win this 125 lapper, talk about it.
Well, Wesley, you had to have a fast race car, and that's what we were fortunate enough to have. We was planning on the track being a little bit freer during the day, so we were actually still a little bit too tight at night when the sun went down. But fortunately, the temperature didn't change a great deal, and the track didn't change, but minute. So we had a fast race car. Thank Forrest Reynolds for building us a good fast race car, Billy Banks for building us a good strong engine, and man, my crew for working so hard to get us where we needed to be to win that race.
Yeah, big win for this driver, of course, at Carteret County Speedway. And I will say this, honestly, props to Judy and Bobby and everybody there. They didn't know what the weather was going to be like. Obviously, you're racing in December. You're going up against parades. You're going up against Christmas shopping. A lot of gambles being taken to try to make this race happen. And I have to say, before I go any further, you're wearing his hat. He is such a good friend. His wife, Lynette, just had a birthday the other day. Thank you to Kirk Ipock and Solid Rock Carriers, because for his undying, wavering effort of continuing to support the world of motorsports, I don't think that race would have been what it's been like other great races across America. What has Kirk Ipock meant to you as a late model racer, Stacy?
Oh, Kurt and Lynette are super, super people. Man, they're such big race fans. They do so much for so many people, so many racetracks. I don't know what would have happened to short track racing. And I say short track racing, but Kurt's a major sponsor on the ARCA series and in the truck series. So,
Yep.
Man, he just does so much. Reminds me of Winston back in the day, with the Cup Series. He's just, it's priceless, and what they mean to racing nowadays. It's amazing. They are such good people, and I can't thank them enough. They've helped me, buy tires and get to the racetrack, and man, they put on these big shows all the time, and they help Mason Diaz and Tate Fogelman and Bobby McCarty, and man, the list goes on, and just so thankful that the Lord brought us together and that our paths crossed.
What is your take of where late model racing is? I know we got about 3 or 4 more minutes with you, buddy. I wanted to have you on for a quick statement because I know you're a busy man. You got a crazy schedule. What is your take of late model racing as we move into 2022?
Well, I think late model stock racing is wide open. It's really good racing. I see nothing but the future being bright. We all got to deal with this tire shortage, and that limited the amount of cars that was able to come to Carteret and race. Just the day and age that we're in. I think late model stock racing is bright, though, with the Cars Tour, with your NASCAR deal with the national championship. You see more and more big races. You got the Icebreaker coming up in February at Florence. You got the Triple Crown, South Boston, Langley, Martinsville. Man, late model stock racing is big right now.
Certainly is, man. And another thing you mentioned is what Kirk Ipock has done with, of course, Solid Rock Carriers and in the big race with sponsoring the Cars Tour. You run the Cars Tour. A lot of big thing on for that series. Stacy, racing, you've been a part of racing for so long. What is your take of the sport? Obviously, the cars, the development, everything's changing. We were just talking about NASCAR. We got Doug Rice coming up next from Performance Racing Network, talking about the new next-gen cars. Everything evolves, obviously, just in life. As we as people, things evolve in the sport. What can you say as a veteran racer, a respected racer in your caliber as well, Stacy, of where the sport's heading?
Well, you're right. Me being a veteran driver, an older driver, I've had to evolve and learn, just like bump stops. We had never ran bump stops until a few years ago, and we struggled a little bit learning the new technology. And with the new technology that's coming with the Gen 6 cars, the Gen 6 bodies on these late model stock cars now. It takes a little different setup than what it used to. you got to keep up with the times, that's for sure. And, you know, I've been very fortunate, been able to win for 4 decades now. And, you know, it's just telling my age, but, you know, I want to keep doing it. I want to stay, whether it's Cars Tour, whether it's NASCAR, you know, I want to keep doing this late model stock racing as long as I can. And, you know, want to try to get a rental program going, bring some young kid along, talking to several kids right now. Because I know that, you know, 5 years down the road, Stacy Puryear is not going to be able to continue to race at a high level like I am now. And just thank the Lord, man, that we was able to win another big money race. And thank Carteret County Speedway for putting on that show, Solid Rock Carriers, Kurt and Lynette for all they do. You know, I got some other great sponsors, Frank Hicks, Chris and Alan Puryear. They do a great job for me. And man, without sponsorship in this day and age, is as tough as competition is, that's key. That's going to keep you in the sport. You young guys coming along, just appreciate these sponsors, appreciate that you can race, appreciate everything about it, because when you get older and you look back on things, you appreciate it a lot more. So very excited.
Yeah, I was going to say definitely perfect sentiments for a veteran race car driver like yourself, Stacy Puryear. And you said it perfectly. You thank your sponsors, you thank the taglines, everybody that makes it happen for you. So I didn't have to do that. And that's truly a veteran race car driver and knowing what they need to do. So Stacy Puryear, man, thank you so much for joining us here on Finish Line. Have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to you, buddy. Thank you for so many years, decades, knowing you in the pit area. And you've always been nice to me. We've always got along. And you've always been a kindred spirit, and you're just truly I don't think that sometimes you feel like you get the credibility that you deserve, but you're truly an ambassador of the sport. You're definitely one of the greats that people look up to for sure.
Well, thanks for the kind words, Wesley. You guys have a Merry Christmas. I appreciate you and everything you have done to make racing better. You're announcing the shows that you do, the show that you have here. Without people like you, we couldn't showcase our talent, and I appreciate everything you've done. And I just want to keep doing it, and just thank the Lord that He has allowed me to do it as long as I have.
Thank you, buddy, man. God is good. Appreciate it. Merry Christmas to you. And yes, I could not do it without the help of the guy in my ear, Charles Wooten, also helping me along the way. So, Stacy, I appreciate it. Stacy Puryear, the $10,000 Solid Rock Carriers Christmas Clash of Champions late model winner. And now we go from South Boston, Virginia to Concord, North Carolina. And we will get ready in just a few moments to connect to Doug Rice of the Performance Racing Network. As we just lost him. Is that what you said? Okay, we'll try to reconnect with Doug here in just a moment. So we'll get Doug Rice here. And Doug Rice is coming up. We'll get him on the program. Stacy Puryear again. And, you know, we had and that's one of the cool things. We just had a young driver in Chandler Smith on. We have a veteran racer for Stacy Puryear on just a few moments ago. You see the age gap, but you see that there's still that type of respect that both of these drivers have. There's a common bond of we want to race. We want to be competitive. We want to do well for our sponsors and for the people that are involved in our industry. But we also know that we got to be humble in what we're doing, because just as fast as you could have something, you can turn around and you can lose it. We're getting ready to go to Charlotte Motor Speedway to the Performance Racing Network studios. Doug Rice, veteran announcer, general manager, president, and chief announcer of PRN, is about to be joining us here in just a few moments. We'll get him reconnected here in just a second as we'll try to reach back out to him. You know what? We haven't done it. We'll thank our sponsors. Thank you to all of them. MPM Marketing, DirtCarLift.com, Crate Insider. This show for 2021 and 3 seasons would not happen if it wasn't for them. We'll be back with Doug Rice next.
Let me tell you about MPM McAllister Precision Marketing. They can assist up-and-coming racers with career advancement, promotion, and assist in sponsorship procurement. MPM also has media and professional etiquette training. They work with premier driver development teams and limited late models to late models, and they also help the teams to make it up to the levels of K&N, ARCA, Truck Series, and even NASCAR Xfinity. Contact Tanya McAllister today at McAllister Precision Marketing, 803-361-6199. Today, get on the board with MPM.
CrateInsider.com is your one source for crate racing tech and more. Whether you currently race with a crate engine or you are thinking about getting into the sport, our website has what you need. CrateInsider.com has tech videos, interviews with experts, and the best products in the industry. Dyno tested and proven, so we know they are the best products for crate engines. Visit CrateInsider.com today to get on the fast track to victory lane.
If you have not ordered at DirtCarLift.com in the motorsports racing world, you are absolutely way behind. But if you are an existing customer of the Dirt Car Lift product, you already know about why they use the concept of stop jacking and start lifting. DirtCarLift.com helps make things very easier in the pit area. Whether you need to change a flat tire, make a shock or spring adjustment, DirtCarLift.com can get all four sides up immediately, then having to go around from side to side to car. By the way, they have a special package and price for existing customers with a few changes to make your life a little easier. Give them a call at DirtCarLift.com today. Call them up again at 770-898-3907. 770-898-3907. And find out why the concept is true. To stop jacking and start lifting with DirtCarLift.com at the races today.
This is Finish Line.
And we welcome you back to Finish Line. It is the 2021 season finale, 3 seasons. And again, it's thanks to all of those sponsors. Finish Line would not be possible. Thanks again, by the way, to LSRTV Productions, Jeff Stabnow, Rocket Media, Charles, for taking it to another level. We look forward to bigger and better things coming up in 2022. We were going to be festive. They were going to put the Grinch on the screen. They were going to put the Christmas lights and the garland and the flashing lights and all that good stuff. But we just figured we'd keep our regular setup. We're going to Charlotte Motor Speedway now in Concord to the Performance Racing Network. The president, general manager, and chief announcer for many, many decades. You've heard SMI finishes, whether it's the 1999 race between the great Dale Earnhardt Sr. and Terry Labonte in 99 to, of course, Jeff Gordon winning his first Coca-Cola 600. So many historic moments. We've had him on Finish Line before in radio audio form, but now you get to see him. Doug, welcome to Finish Line, sir. Thank you for joining us, my friend.
Wesley, thanks for having me on. Yes, I have the face for radio. We'll just go ahead and get that out of the way real quick. So.
Oh, no. Oh, by the way, go PRN.com for all of the information that he covers. Doug, are there race cars in the background? The next-gen cars? Are they tested in the office? Can you hear
There are race cars at Charlotte Motor Speedway today. It's the first day of the next-gen test. Going down to the media center here as soon as we get through this call. We're not allowed to go around and poke around in the garage today. They'll be bringing drivers into the media center to assess how the test is going throughout the day. And there's still a lot of work to be done on this car, Wesley.
Yeah, I was going to say that, man. It literally looks like there's a lot of growing pains that they've got to try to achieve. And we're going to go over 2021 and go into 2022, and I guess this has a lot to do with 2022, Doug. The testing of these cars, could there be something that might put a halt getting ready for the clash at the LA Coliseum or getting ready for Speed Weeks if these cars do not test like they're wanting to do?
I think the number one thing that they were concerned with going in on this was safety, and they feel like the cars are safe. Performance-wise, they've still got to get them to race better in groups, and they are really working on the aerodynamic side right now. And then they've got to finalize what the rule package is like so they can ramp up production. Teams are only going to be allowed 7 chassis per car number. That's down considerably when they used to have a fleet of 20 cars per each car number. So that's going to be dropped, but they've got to get production up and running so these teams can have a backlog by the time we go out to the LA Coliseum. I don't think there will be any kind of delay. They are going to have cars in Los Angeles, and they'll have cars in Daytona to run the 500.
Again, Doug Rice for the Performance Racing Network is joining us. We talk about NASCAR from 21 moving into 2022. All his great shows, including the pit reporters and all of the great coverage that he does is a good. And Doug, we look at NASCAR. And you've been in this sport for close to 30 years now, you, Mark Garrow. And by the way, before I even go any further, continued prayers to Steve Richards. Can you give us an update on how he's doing?
Well, Steve has been a longtime member of our on-air crew for PRN, primarily as a pit reporter. He has been in the hospital now almost a month with COVID. And over the last couple of days, they have had a few good reports. Nothing earth-shattering, but his trend was upwards the last couple of days. And considering how ill he has been and the fact that he has been on a ventilator for over 3 weeks, that's a smidgen of good news. So thoughts, prayers, however you feel for Steve Richards.
Yeah, definitely. God is good, and hopefully we can definitely get his voice back on PRN before the start of the 2022 season for sure. All right, so back to my question at hand. We were just thinking of that for sure, and we're friends on social media, Mark Garrow, yourself, and we see them as well. So the state of racing for NASCAR, Kyle Larson, what's going on in 2021 post-COVID? And obviously we're not even over COVID. We're still doing our best to try to come back to some civility and normalcy in our lives, not just as people, but in NASCAR and the industry of broadcasting as well, Doug. Where do you see us going in the past couple of years to go into 2022 before Daytona?
Well, I like the trend. The races this year for the second half of the year were pretty much held in a normal environment. They had allowed a few more people back into the garage. We were selling tickets. The race at Phoenix was sold out. There was a lot of positive buzz around the new races last year, even though they were affected by weather. Circuit of the Americas, the road course in Wisconsin was a big hit. The dirt track, I think, will be better this time. They're going to have it at night. And hopefully we won't have a monsoon the day before. So there's some nice positive trends there. And, Wes, I do want to say this. There was all this talk and buzz around Formula One this past Sunday and their great finale. And, wow, it did well on television. With all the viewers that it had, it did not equal the views that we get on a typical week for an Xfinity race. So let's put all of this in perspective. Nationally, NASCAR is still the leading automotive taste of most people. Yes, F1, IndyCar, both made inroads, and that's good. We love all motorsports, but I think sometimes the decline of NASCAR has been overtalked.
And the thing about and you know what, I'll say I agree with you on that. And Formula One is a worldly series, if you will. It's all over the world. They race all over the world. Austria, Belgium, Australia, Europe, Asia, Japan. United States primarily, with the exception of what they did at Suzuka and Motegi for NASCAR in Japan, or they did run a one-off race in Australia at one time back in the early 90s. NASCAR is based out of the United States, and I don't care who you are, and I'm not taking anything away from any of the national dirt series out there, Doug Rice. NASCAR is the number one motorsports brand in the country, bottom line. Not taking IndyCar away. I know you do stuff with IndyCar. I know you love drag racing, but bottom line, it's NASCAR for sure.
No, it is. It's by far and away number one. But I think the positive side of this equation, at least from my viewpoint, is I feel like all brands of motorsports in the U.S. are on the uptick. The Dirt Series, no matter which one you want to name, they're moving up. That's part and parcel because of Kyle Larson's popularity. And people are sampling dirt racing now that weren't doing it. And I think he's also brought some of the dirt crowd over to NASCAR. So dirt's doing really well. I feel like there's a lot of energy behind NHRA. And IndyCar got sexy again the last couple of years. Of course, it didn't hurt when Elio Castroneves won his fourth Indy.
And by the way, another four-time winner to Elio Castroneves, Spider-Man winning it this year. And just this past week, Friday, we lost Al Unser Sr. What did he mean to you in knowing him in the industry, Doug?
Well, there are classic names that you associate with motorsports, and especially on the IndyCar side. Al Unser Sr. was one of those names. He was one of the only four to ever win the Indianapolis 500 four times, and I'm so glad that someone had the vision to get all four of those people together and get some photos and do some things after Elio won before Al Sr. passed. A big part of sports, big part of motorsports, and one of those guys that could do a lot of different things, from racing in the Indianapolis 500 and winning it at an older age to doing the Pikes Peak Hill Climb.
You know, one of the coolest things that I'll never forget, Doug, was having the privilege to be able to go to PRI in Indianapolis, and we were doing radio shows out there, and Al Unser Sr. and Bobby Unser, and we all know the personality, the spunk, the voice that Bobby Unser has, his energy coming on the program, and that was definitely something I'll never forget. Probably one of the interviews that I'll always cherish, and definitely kind of crazy that around that same time on Friday was about 3-4 years ago when that interview took place, and I saw, I tell people all the time, Doug, those Facebook memories will bring a tear to your face, and sometimes they'll bring a tear to your eye, thinking about some memories of people and things.
I was doing a Sirius show the other day with Brad Gilley, and we were fortunate enough to have Tony Stewart on to do a segment. He was announcing a sponsorship for Chase Briscoe from Mahindra. And after it was done, I realized, we just spent 20 minutes talking to easily one of the most famous drivers to ever get behind a wheel. And you look at all the accomplishments somebody like Tony Stewart did. He may be the last one of those guys that conquers all these different disciplines. He won a Triple Crown. He won the IndyCar Championship one year, 3 NASCAR titles. I mean, there's not much on the resume that Tony Stewart hasn't done. So just thinking about, wow, this was really cool that we got to spend a little bit of time, even with all the things that I've had a chance to do. The greatness of some of these people is not lost on me.
Got questions coming in, and Doug Rice, I got one for you. Do you have a good Dale Earnhardt Sr. story for Christmas of the off season?
I don't have a Dale Earnhardt Sr. Christmas story, but I was interviewing Earnhardt one time at a media function. And I knew Dale. He knew to call me by name. We weren't chums, but we had a nice working relationship. And I sat down, and this was prior to one of the All-Star races at Charlotte. And I got about 7 minutes of just absolute one-on-one gold with him. And then he gets up and he walks off. And I look down, and this is back in the day when you had a big cassette recorder. And pause button was still pressed. And I went, I got nothing. It was not working. And so I worked up the courage to go back, and I just told him what happened. I said, man, I missed this. I got none of that. And he goes, he had a few choice words, kind of kidding me, and he sat back down, and we redid the thing. So that, Earnhardt was a special breed of guy. So it was always a pleasure when you got to be around him.
Again, we're talking with Doug Rice. He's in 2 segments of Finish Line. We're going into hour number 2, the Checkered app, and the founder, Chris Moeller, is on the way beginning at 12:05 Eastern. Andy Jankowiak and Charles Wooten all on the way here for our finale of 2021 on Finish Line. Doug Rice again joining us. He recap what has been an eventful 2021. My question, Doug, has Kyle Larson been good for NASCAR after post-pandemic and all the things that he went through on a personal level last year?
I think so. Yes, unabashedly yes. A couple of things. Americans traditionally like a comeback story. And American sports fans and Americans in general, I think, are all about second chances for people if they think they are sincere. So he overcame his situation. He paid his penance. He missed a year. Rick Hendrick took a gamble, picked him back up. He's got a little charm about him. He doesn't have the swagger, but there's an interest level in him. And I think he also, as I said earlier, he brought over people from the dirt world that don't care anything about a car that races on asphalt, but he's their guy. He's one of them. And I think he already had a huge fan base built in. I know Chase Elliott just won the most popular driver again, but I will say this. You go to any driver intros right now and listen, and when he gets introduced, it's the loudest cheer. You walk down into the souvenir alley and go by the haulers, and you know where they're lined up? They're lined up at the Kyle Larson hauler. So he's been very good for NASCAR.
So, Doug, one of the things that was announced probably about 3 weeks ago after the end of the season was the return of qualifying. Euro-style qualifying, single-car qualifying on some levels, knockout qualifying, if you will, is what's been done before. Because do you feel like guys like maybe Kyle Busch and others verbatim, they're tired of not having the chance to shake their cars down, going out and doing these races straight up? And do you feel like we have passed that option of now being able to go back to some type of normalcy in the qualifying practice format for NASCAR?
I think for a lot of the young people, I would have hated to have been a rookie this past year because you got no time. The only time you got was simulation, and that's not the same. As good as it is, it's not the same. So I think for the young drivers that it's very important. I know Kyle Busch said ad nauseum that the lack of practice time and the lack of track time was part of the reason that his performance level had dropped down. So and I can see that on some level. I do think the way they're going to do it this coming year with 2 hours of track time, be it a short practice session followed by qualifying, I think the big winner in that is the fans that show up to these races. And this past year they didn't get much. You got the race, and that was it. You had no chance to see the cars before, get acclimated to it. It was, gentlemen, start your engines and let's go. So I think the fans and the ticket buyers, and sometimes I think we forget about those people, they're the big winners in this, is that their ticket suddenly became a little more valuable.
And, Doug, to segue in that conversation, I remember as a kid going to Charlotte, going to Bristol, going to Richmond, going to Martinsville, going to Darlington, going to Rockingham with my dad. And you would arrive on a Thursday. You'd get there on a Thursday. There'd be action all day. People are tailgating and they're partying and they're cookouting and they're enjoying practice and they're enjoying qualifying. And Doug, you're in the realm of it a lot more than I can be. We live in a world today where I guess people's mindsets are not, they're short attention span, if you will. They don't care about practice and qualifying. They want to see the race. But how do you draw the attention of the fans, the younger people, to say, oh, wow, okay, well, this means something. They're racing against the clock. They're racing against, trying to figure these vehicles out to put down a good lap to be ready for Sunday or Saturday night.
Well, I think part of the answer in that is with the formats they've got now, they've shortened down the qualifying time. Well, so there were times that we would go qualify at one of these 1.5 mile racetracks, and we were literally there for 2 hours. We'd go to Sonoma, and it would take 3 hours to qualify with single car qualifying. And nobody wants that. There's no tolerance for that anymore because you're right. We live in a microwave, I want it now world, and people want that short sample size. I think that's part of the reason Stewart and Evernham's SRX was such a big hit this past year. You turned it on at 8 o'clock and you knew they were going to be racing starting at 8, and at 10 o'clock it was going to be over and there was going to be a winner. And that's one of the things I'm a big advocate of. I feel like, with the exception of 4 or 5 NASCAR races, all of them should be timed out to around about a 3-hour window. You get past 3 hours, and man, even my attention span wanes, and I love watching it. Just keep Darlington, Southern 500s, Coke 600, the Talladegas, and Daytona, and everything else needs to be 400 miles or less.
So when you're
listen very carefully. Doug, you know what it's like to have somebody in your ear at the same time as you trying to handle a broadcast. My producer and director, Charles Wooten, has a question for you, so stand by.
Okay, so my
Okay.
question is related to the time issue. I just thought of this because, I'm like that. So, we got a car wrecked at Charlotte, by the way. When it comes to time, if there's a rain delay, I know a lot of these times, Wesley, you've been there, where they drag this rain delay out over and over, and then it rains again, they dry it. Should there be a limit on how long? Just call this race, come back the next day instead of dragging it out for 5-6 hours at a time and letting the fans sit there and the fans watching on TV sitting there. Just call it and come back the next day sooner.
That is all driven by television. TV networks set up, Fox sets up, and they're going to be on from 2 to 6. And they're going to be on from 2 to 6. They're not going to go off at 4 and start showing reruns of The Simpsons. So that is what drives that in every way. It's all about filling up that television window because they've got to put some programming on. So that's why you see highlight packages from old races or reporters in the motorhome lot talking to people. And there are times, fortunately on radio, we're not logged into that. We look at it and I make that decision. Okay, this track's going to be down for 2 hours, and we try to give it back to our local stations and let them carry on. Television doesn't have that flexibility.
And he just said in my ear, okay, I'll just listen to PRN from now on instead of watching television.
Thank you,
So
Charles.
definitely,
I appreciate
you've gained another listener. And by the way, Doug, he is from Wichita Falls, Texas, and he remembers last year when I felt so bad for you guys. I think you had to do your laundry in the hotel room because you only packed for 3 days. Where Texas went from Friday all the way or Saturday all the way until Wednesday of the following week. Yeah, I remember that. That was kind of bad for you guys, for sure.
It was not ultimate. It was we were supposed to race on Sunday. We got in a handful of laps, and then it never really rained. That was the thing. It was just misty. It was just enough to be damp to keep them from racing. And that weather pattern held for 72 hours before we finally got to race on Wednesday and fly back home on Thursday.
Doug Rice, a few more minutes with him coming up. Chris Moeller, we move into hour number 2 of our 2021 season finale of Finish Line. And by the way, is telling me that somebody wrecked in next-gen testing at Charlotte. So there's just some updates and stories there, Doug. Doug, with the sport being where it is, and you kind of hinted on this a moment ago. You literally said sometimes I get short run. Is there times in the broadcast booth where you literally, and as a broadcaster, I've even had this happen too, not really a losing touch of what the job is that you're doing because we know what we got to do, but when there's nothing going on, when it's follow the leader, when it's single
happens
file,
a couple
what
of
is
times.
that?
Sure. You got to go back in the pack and look for something else. I mean, the Coca-Cola 600 this past year was a great example. Kyle Larson led almost every lap. He won all 4. He won the 3 stages leading up to the last stage. And Mark Arrow and I knew 50 laps in, unless Kyle broke or something like that, he was going to win the race and he was going to win it easily. And he did. And that's where your research going into the race has to be keen so you can pick up other storylines. And we're always looking for that team that's outboxing their weight. Is there somebody in that race that normally runs 20th, but today Matt DiBenedetto is 7th? And is that a good story? And let's go after that. But the cardinal rule in our business, doing live NASCAR races on the radio, we can't lose interest. If we lose interest and we're projecting that on the air that, wow, this is just follow the leader and it's fait accompli, then every radio listener is going to turn out. And we can't have that happen. So we have to find some other vein to mine to kind of keep that interest. And some races just are more interesting than others. When we go to Bristol, that doesn't normally happen. We're usually up on the chip the whole race.
Doug, Coda, talk about not only being a part of that race back at Austin, Texas earlier this year, but in addition to that, the production I mean, I threw my hat in the ring. I was like, hey, man, if you need somebody, because I know you said you were looking for a lot of reporters to cover that event, I threw my name in the ring. The production that went behind making that race happen, talk about that real fast.
Well, two things, Wesley. We'd love to get you on a show one day. And the other thing is that took every piece of gear and every technological bit of wizardry we had to put it on the air, because it was the most turn announcers that we had ever used. And, you know, the track's 4 miles. So, and I think we had 7 turn announcers. So Ralph Shaheen from Speed Sport came down and helped us out. We moved Brett McMillan off pit road to a turn. And it took a lot of folks to do that. And even the president of Circuit of the Americas came in, and he'd never seen a production like that, because when IndyCar did it, they did it with like 3 people, and Formula One just uses the television feed. So it was a lot of fun.
Right.
I can't wait to get back there, and hopefully we can get back there without a monsoon hitting us.
Yeah, for sure, because there was that weather issue for definitely. Doug, one more question. We'll let you go. We got Chris Moeller coming up with the Checkered app. Short track racing and NASCAR, and I've said this so many times, they go hand in hand. For NASCAR to work, short track racing has to work, whether it's dirt, pavement, sprint cars, late models, modifieds, to what is in the NASCAR realm with the Xfinity truck, and obviously the Cup Series is the pinnacle. What can you say to somebody out there that might be on the fence because they've seen a bad race, or maybe they're questionable about what this new next gen car is going to be? Well, they're changing the sport. Oh, they're taking 5 lug nuts away. We're doing single lug nuts. What kind of mess is that? You're hurting the industry. What can you say to people being a veteran broadcaster of NASCAR?
Every sport evolves. The rules in the NFL and Major League Baseball are not the same as they were a decade ago. Baseball raises and lowers the pitcher's mound about every other year, and they make nuanced changes. Now, when a relief pitcher comes in, he's got to throw to 3 batters and not just one. And those are big changes. But you know what? We had a World Series this year. By the way, the Braves won. We kept playing baseball.
Yes, they did.
And people kept watching it. And NASCAR racing is going to evolve. Once you get to a racer, you watch it on television, the next gen car is going to be the car that you're watching. And I don't think that it's going to be that impactful on your viewing experience. At least I hope not. Yeah, they're going to have some bugs to work out. I have no doubt about that. But I also have confidence that there's some pretty smart people in every one of these teams, like today at Charlotte Motor Speedway, gathering data, are going to make it. As far as short tracks are concerned, the company that I work for, Speedway Motorsports, seems to be pretty committed to it. Nashville Fairgrounds Raceway, they're going to renovate that. And I think by 2023, there will be a NASCAR Cup Series race at Nashville Fairgrounds. That gives you another short track. And of course, they're working on North Wilkesboro, which I thought would never come back. And we're going to have some kind of racing there in a couple of years. What it's going to be, I don't know. But they're going to be rebuilding North Wilkesboro Speedway as a racetrack. It's not going to be a convention center or a fairgrounds. It's going to be a racetrack.
And I saw something last night as well, Doug, that said that Rockingham is going to be repaved, and they're putting lights in at Rockingham Speedway as well. Is it good to always remember, never forget where you come from? Because as you climb the ladder to success, whether it's a career or even a sport, you might have to go back where you started.
I feel like somewhere in the late 90s, NASCAR lost their direction. We went crazy building racetracks and building them too big. I mean, too many people. The capacity was too big, and the layouts were too big because we were popular, and everybody was selling out. And NASCAR was the hot ticket, and so naturally everybody wanted to grab everything they could. And tracks added seats, and then I think a lot of this drove some of the hardcore people away when we left Rockingham and we left North Wilkesboro and we cut Darlington back to a single date. The message to the long-running fan was, we don't care, we're chasing this new fan. Well, the new fan burned out after about 3 or 4 years. They saw the races, they'd done it, and they were on to the next thing. And now I think this has been a little bit of return to roots. And I like this course better. We're never going to be the NFL. But what we have to be is the best motorsports product that we can offer the American fan.
Yeah, for sure. And in doing so, we have to adapt, but we also have to never forget where we come from. Doug Rice, thank you
Yeah,
so much, man,
absolutely.
for your time. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you and your entire family. And thank you so much for what you've done for over decades to the racing industry on the Performance Racing Network and more.
Wesley, thanks for having me on. My pleasure. Take care.
No problem, buddy. And you can check him out at goprn.com, at RiceMan61 as well on Twitter. Doug Rice, the general manager, president of the Performance Racing Network, as well as lead anchor. And we welcome you back to Finish Line. We're moving into hour number 2. Doug Rice is out of here, and we're getting ready to get our next guest on, and that is going to be Chris Moeller. From one guest to another. And we're looking forward to doing some things with Chris W. Moeller in 2022. I'm looking forward to, there's a lot of things that are in the works. I can't really unveil them. Tom Ryan got me hooked up with this guy. And Chris, welcome to Finish Line. Checkered app. I see you're wearing the checkered. Got the backdrop for me. It's the Indianapolis 500. When I went to Indy this year, you've got the Indy cars in the background. Are you an open wheel fan besides a NASCAR fan? Chris, welcome to Finish Line.
Actually, this is it's an F1 picture I've got here. That's
Formula One. Okay, Formula One.
Yeah, the new world champ, Max Verstappen, racing Lewis Hamilton earlier year. But huge open wheel fan. Before we start, can you see me okay? I'm a little dodgy on my side.
You're a blurry, but I can see what the checkered means.
No, I want to make sure we're good here. So, anyway, we'll continue on. So
producers, does he look okay? Yeah.
I'm sorry?
It's a little pixelated, but we can see you. You're fine. Get your point across, bud.
So huge open wheel fan, but I love all racing, and that's what we built here at Checkered is a platform for people who race lawn tractors. We have some F1 technicians on the platform as well. But what it's about is the racing fan and the racing community. So quick background, Checkered is a app that you can download for free in the app stores, both Apple and for Android. Totally join for free, get in, work around, connect with different types of racing and different people that are in your specific area of racing. Like if you are a sprint car fan, there's a big community there. If you are a karting fan, there's a community there. There are places for NASCAR fans, F1 fans, Indy fans, motorcycle, dirt bikes, supercross, enduros, all kinds of stuff. And we've even got some wacky things from Europe, like sidecar racing and tractor trailer racing and things like that. But pretty much if you chase a checkered flag with a motor in it, there's a place for you on Checkered. So we encourage everyone to come in and build the community with us. There's a great opportunity. We see a lot of what we call cross-pollination, where a rally car racer in Washington State is connecting with late model dirt guy in Georgia, and they kind of learn about each other's racing. But what everyone has in common is a passion for racing. So there's that commonality. So it's built with a social twist to it. So just like Facebook and Instagram, you can go on and post and interact and like and share and comment and things like that. But, there's a definite place for that. We've put with our proof of concept that the racing community wants their own social world without politics and without, healthcare issues, things that just kind of muddy the existing social world. But other than that, we're making it so much more valuable to the member because we're working on technology, like we're looking at an NFT platform just for racing. We're working on a gambling solution, possibly, that's up in the air. We're doing a lot with original programming that we're creating. One we're super excited about is an animated series called Marbles, where a character may or may not look and sound a lot like you. So stay tuned for that.
I didn't know we were going to say anything about that. I thought we had to be hush hush about me being a voice of a cartoon.
No, man, we're close enough that we can we can look for. We've got some animators, but we're always looking for more. But yeah, that's going to be a lot of. We think there's a great chance to build out that animated series. You know, you look at any kind of racing show that's come around. Like recently, I think Netflix had one with Kevin James called The Crew or Shop. And I watched it.
The Pit Crew. Yeah.
Yeah. It was watchable, but I don't know. It didn't go anywhere, and I don't think it connected with the race fan because I think it was just a little too sitcom based. What's going to make Marbles really unique is that we're going to crowdsource storylines from people in racing. You know, we'll have people submit things that have happened to them, funny jokes that they've heard, insults that they've heard in the pits, and really. You can't beat the stories that come out of racing from, you know, staying up till 3, getting a car ready for the track, or, you know, a blowout on the side of the road in your trailer trying to get to a race and people who come along and help. But just there's going to be a lot of heartfelt stories there. There's going to be a lot of laughter. There's a little drama, but it's really going to connect, I think, with the racing fan because it's about them, for them. And it's going to explore the biggest issue in racing, which is why I got into my world with racing. I can tell you about that in a minute, but
sure.
Money is everything in racing. So there's this world of the haves and have-nots, and the people who struggle to get to the track and, you know, just fuel their passion. It's not a lot of people make money in racing. Most people lose a lot of money racing, right? But what brings them back week after week is the passion for racing. So we're going to connect to that, and we're going to work with people in and around the sport, like, you know, like yourself. We want to, you know, do something with you. We're talking to Billy, infield tractor trier. I don't know if you know him, but he's hilarious. Oh, yeah. He's a super funny guy, really, really nice guy, and his accent is right on for the character that we're creating for him. So stay tuned for that. We understand it's hard to beat the social platforms out there like Facebook and Instagram. And now, you know, TikTok has taken so much screen time away from people. And yes, we have that element. And yes, that's valuable for the racing community to connect to like people without the noise. Really proud to say that we went through the election and now through COVID without one non-racing post. So we didn't have to kind of, you know, push somebody back in the lanes and say, hey, bud, let's keep it just racing. People get it. They come here and they're like, okay, I'm going to keep their stuff and that other noise on these other platforms. This is where I go for just racing. You know, so we say escape to racing.
And Chris, I love the fact because my good colleague, friend, probably my favorite ENG in the world, Tom Ryan, and you're a good friend, your best friend for that matter. He talked to me back in the summer about, hey man, you know, when the pandemic was, man, you need to look into this Checkered app. You need to look into this Checkered app. I'm like, dude, I'm so busy. I've always got a crazy schedule. I don't even have time to download an app. And he's like, no, seriously, you need to look into the Checkered app, and you need to, you know, as much as you do in the racing industry, and you would be a big ambassador and a follower for it. And I love the fact that it's broken down. If you want to talk about, you know, selling your race car parts, or if you want to do like, dirt racing, there's a dirt segment. If it's on late models, modified, stock car, 4-cylinder, a U car. If you want to do stuff about late models, modifieds, pavement, they've got it. If you want to do something in the media as regards of myself, there's a media platform, and everything you post is about media, and you can post those things. I love the fact that it's just one posting going out on everything. It's kind of like a nice way of saying it's like a spider web. You have a spider web, you have the mothership, which is the Checkered, and then you have all of these different spider webs that basically give you all of these different platforms. You choose what you want to go on, and then you can follow them, and it makes it fun for sure.
Yeah, you hit on something there. There are groups, you know, broken out just as you said so well, but they all feed into what we call the straightaway, which is the main feed. So you can go into the, sprint car group and post in there, and it will run in that line with that group, but then it also populates to the straightaway line. So what's cool is we get back to the cross-pollination. So you'll have a sprint car post above a karting post above a hill climb, you know, dirt bike post. on. So you kind of just scroll through and you're like, oh, there's so many other types of racing on here that I'd never really got to, get into, but it allows for that. But you can also, like you said, specify into your specific group, which is really cool. And we understand that that's a big part, and that's kind of where we started, but we're really excited to value out for our members. And so that's why we're pushing the marketplace. We're pushing the swap meet. We're pushing all other kinds of areas. But we connect you to, you can go in and it's a one-stop shop. You can get to all the different ticket apps like Pit Pass and all different ones.
The media outlets, all of the media outlets are there. You click on what you want.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So you can find it and kind of use this as your like you said, spiderweb. It's something you come in, it's one stop, get your racing fixed, but then also I want to hook up a pit. Oh yeah, I can get that through Checkered. And that's just a link. And we don't have any arrangements with them yet, but we just want to connect the racing community as easily and as conveniently as possible. So we do provide these other links to other companies that we, have no affiliation, and they're in racing, we're in racing, and why not make it easier for our members to get that product. You know what I mean?
So, Chris, a few more minutes with you, and we'll bring in Andy Jankowiak coming up. The history of the Checkered app, is it based on short track racing, or is it for NASCAR, IndyCar, IHRA? I know you're a Formula One guy, so are you trying to mainly hit the national level, but also go down the line to short track racing, or is it a short track racers Checkered app?
So I came into this through our mutual friend, Tom Ryan. He built a car, race short track dirt up in Middletown, New York. But the answer to your question is yes. So it's kind of all of the above, but the nirvana would be connecting these short track and grassroots people to the larger communities and vice versa. There's something that people don't realize, that on what we call big social, like Facebook and Instagram and things like that, you can gather all of these followers. Like, let's say, you have 10,000 followers that you've connected with, or people have said, want to hear your message. People want to say, hey, Wesley, I like you. I like your show. Let's connect. I want to see you. Now, you, on the other hand, when you put a message out, there are limiters. In I've got a great meme on Checkered about big social just throttles back your messaging to about maybe 20 every time you send out a message, which is infuriating, but that's their business model. So if you want to reach the rest of them, sure, pay us some money and you will be able to do that. We're not doing that. For brands and people like you put a post up, 100% of our audience is going to see it every single time. So, there's no hocus pocus, and we have revenue models, and we'll make money down the road. That's not it right now. We think it's more valuable trends into personalities, into tracks, right? So important for tracks. They might think, hey, we've got 30,000 people that follow us on Facebook. Let's put out, about our race this weekend. Well, only a fraction of those people are going to see it unless you pay to play. You know what I mean? So it's a much cleaner conduit between people in racing that want to get their message to the other people in racing. That could be peer-to-peer. It could be track to fans. It could be track to racers. It could be brands to, community, all that stuff. We think if you're in racing and you want to communicate with the racing people together or across or up or down, we are the platform to grow with.
Chris, final questions, and we'll let you go. Andy Jankowiak on the way. With your app, Finish Line is going to be doing a lot of things in 2022. Obviously, you get a YouTube link, you get a copy of what Rocket Media LSRTV Productions does on the video feed. You share it. What did Finish Line mean to you to make you want to start having it on your Checkered app network beginning in 2022?
Well, number one, I think you do a great job. I really do. I think you're top-notch professional, in what you give to racing in terms of your passion and your commitment is completely admirable. So hats off to you. I think it's a great benefit to our community to have your program on. You know, it's another way we can connect racers to great people and great shows. So it meant that here's a great asset. Let's get it on the platform. And we're doing some tech upgrades around the first of the year that will make it easier for you not only to post on Checkered, but interact with the community as well. But as of right now, you can completely post your YouTube channel or link every time, and it'll take it right to there. We have that technology. We don't poo-poo when it goes to other platforms. Again, it's a one-stop community shop, and we just want to help people in racing.
Well, listen, our time's grown short, Chris. Let everybody know how they can follow the Checkered app. We appreciate you being on Finish Line for the finale. Looking forward to big things in 2022. Can't wait to see how you turn this into a cartoon for television. And I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
You bet, man. You can follow us at the Checkered app is in the app stores. What is it? CHCKRD. We're too fast for vowels. We just put them out. I know.
Checkered without the
But then Checkered app on other social too. So, anyway, Wesley, thanks, bud.
Definitely.
We'll talk soon.
And I think it's Checkered Hub on Twitter and Instagram and all that good stuff.
No,
as well.
It's Checkered app. It's Checkered app.
Oh, okay. Okay, Checkered app.
Yep.
Yes, sir. Definitely. Well, man, right. Chris, thanks for your time, buddy. And we look forward to doing more stuff with you in 2022. Merry Christmas.
You bet. You too, Wesley.
All right.
See you soon.
There's Chris Moeller. Yes, sir, my friend. Chris Moeller, the Checkered app, straight motorsports, whether NASCAR, short track racing, you name it. They got it covered. IndyCar, Formula One. He's an IndyCar guy fan back there. So, of course, thanks again to Chris Moeller joining us. Checkered app. Of course, download it on your Android or Apple stores. We're getting ready to go to our final guest coming up, or to our penultimate guest. There he is. For many years, he has been on audio only. And now you finally get to see the man, the myth, the mystery at Tonawanda, New York. The Buffalo Missile, Andy Jankowiak. Andy, flip your camera this way, brother. Make you bigger. Go horizontal. Listen to me. Do what I tell you to do. What are you doing? Turn, Andy.
Easy.
Can you turn your camera?
Oh, like this?
Yeah.
It won't work. What
in the hell?
You'll just do that.
No, we don't. No, we're not gonna have you
Can we
sideways.
go like this?
No, go back up again.
I'm gonna be sideways. I have a flip phone, dude. You're lucky I got this far.
Man, I'm so proud of you that you're literally catching on to the technology world, brother. Definitely.
I'm trying, man. I'm playing with the camera screen right now. I don't want to hang up on you. I think stick with the vertical thing we got on here. I think it's working.
It's all good. Don't worry about it. Welcome to Finish Line. Listen, a big honor for you on Saturday. Of course, you've raced for Ken Schrader. I think you're still going to do some things with him in the future. To get the Speedway Illustrated Ken Schrader Driver Excellence Award, what did that mean to you at PRI Saturday night, bud?
It's it's hard to put words to it. It's just I've been nominated for that award a few times before, and just being nominated, it put me in some different circles inside racing, and it opened doors for me. And that was how we sort of, like got to where we were going to be. I think, being able to call Ken Schrader on the people that I've met through the press that we got to that award was very, very helpful to me. And I think it's why we were able to do everything last year. So for everything to sort of come full circle, and for us this year was really cool. And to meet John Schneider was even cooler.
And of course, man, if there's anybody that deserves that honor, I saw that and it had a tear come to my eye. I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm a grown ass man. He had me cry, Andy. I was like, dude, this guy, everything that you got coming to you, you deserve, because you've literally worked so hard to be able to be where you're at, from being a pizza delivery man. And I say that on the air in no way to make fun of you and disrespect, Just that's your job. That's what you did. And you took your money, you took your livelihood to thrash and drive, to chase a dream in the modifieds, to running in the ARCA series. And now you're getting ready for Daytona, less than 9 weeks away from the Lucas Oil 200 down at the World Center of Racing.
I actually, I'm just looking at my clock. I'm going to work in about an hour and a half. I still deliver pizzas when I'm in Buffalo. So, yeah, no, it's kind of crazy right now. We're midget ready, and then sitting with our Daytona Speedway car that we're getting ready to go testing with weeks. I could not tell you for the life of me how if you gave me a 1,000 more tries, I could do it again. But somehow things have just all worked out. I have had a lot of really good help and really good sponsors, and I just been blessed along the way. And we're just making the best of it right now. We're having a lot of fun, and we're getting ready to try to do something special here next.
The drive and the personality of the encouragement of Andy Jankowias here on Finish Line. We talk dirt track racing next with Charles Wooten, our final guest. And Finish Line will say bon voyage for 2021. And Season 3 will be in the books. We return for Season 4 in 2022. And, of course, Chris Moeller was giving you the details as well on the Checkered app on that. Andy, racing this year, what's your take of it? Post-pandemic, still in the pandemic, sick of the trying to make it work, getting butts in the seats, trying to put on the show for the fans.
It was great to be. I feel like racing's really right now. Obviously, we need to get on some of the bridges, and I talked with Irish at Hoosier, and I think once they start getting some employees over there, I think things are going to start getting back to normal here somewhat. But I feel like racing's really healthy. It's a little discouraging. You see Sonic like prices going up things, but that's part of the nature of things. And but car counts have been strong, and it's been as good as just want to see things kind of back and normal and just keep seeing those grandstand and going forward.
We move into 2022. We look at the ARCA series. Obviously, we've had Bob Dillner on. We've had ARCA racers on before as well, like yourself. What is your plans for the ARCA Menard series, and where do you see them heading now going into 2022 past Daytona? I always say this, Andy. Daytona has a great car count. Pocono, Michigan, Talladega, obviously, those are big races. They have the good car counts. They do well. It's when they go to Elko, it's when they go to Toledo, it's when they go to DeCoin, where it's kind of a question mark. You don't know what you're going to end up with. What's your take of what ARCA's doing to try to make things better? And it does look like they're trying to get a hold of the new or the old NASCAR Cup car is actually going to be in the next couple of years the new ARCA car. So that's good to see that being continued in the sport.
They may not get as accommodating as they can. Obviously, it's a national series and pretty big stage. So it is a good middle ground car. They're very quick, very to the phone to help. Very hands-on, very engaging. Mr. Wells, Drager actually joined us. The president of the series actually joined us at the Ken board the other day. So it's pretty cool to be able to build a relationship with those, and that alone just so much use someone like me that doesn't have all the connections, sort of what's going on with the series, and have the same advantages as everybody else. They do make it very accessible. Obviously, try to make it more feasible with limiting some of the things we can do on pit road at the higher pit. That's a mountain of expense. So they work really hard to try to make it workable. I think with being there, more of a we're probably a short track team, the team racing, with the ARCA series track guys. So I think that we demonstrate that it can be done with investment. Obviously, it's not short racing anymore, but it's not. We don't have mountain of employee under the shop. Either we do it with volunteer help, and just I thought we I think in a way that maybe that's it is doable on a small, and you can be competitive. So certainly we're proud of that, and I think shows how what ARCA working with us shows how hands on they are, and how they really do want those blue collar teams to to make a go of it. It's why we're there.
And I will say this as well, if you want to bring me back onto the screen now, Andy, side by side with him. You literally look at a story like yourself, or you look at Landon River Lewis from South Carolina, good friend of mine. I've known from the legend cars to running dirt modified super trucks. One shot, second race in ARCA, and he turns around and wins on the dirt at DeCoin. You look at these stories. You look at Gracie Trotter and what she did in ARCA. You look at obviously what Haley Diggin did as well. Those opportunities for these stars, even like yourself, Andy, they come from ARCA. ARCA for the longest time was the stepping stone. That was the foundation groundwork to make it up to what now not used to be the truck series. It was ABC. And it was that way back in the early 90s, 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. ARCA, Busch, which is now Xfinity, Cup. There was not trucks. Trucks is great. Not taking anything away. I love the truck races. But basically, we need to somehow, Andy, and I believe you'll agree with me on this, find a way to make sure that ARCA doesn't forget their placement in what it means as a stepping ladder to make it up to the next level, to the top level of the pinnacle of the NASCAR Cup Series.
Absolutely, and I think it's cool to go out there and I'm racing against Ty. You think, okay, well, he's probably going to replace Kyle Busch someday, and that's. But then I'm racing against Derek Lancaster, who's our Encore, or these guys that are just awesome short track racers that experience this level of car racing, and they're out at Daytona and Talladega, and they go home and they're running a dirt track somewhere or a short track somewhere, and ARCA has an identity. They don't El Lido's. They're trying to mimic series like ARCA is a stock car tour. It's actually, I believe it's existed at least as long, if not longer, NASCAR. It's it was a computer really. They actually used ARCA cars to fill in a cup race once in 1960 at Talladega. That's
right.
When the guys went on the guy right because the speeds were too fast. Richard Brickhouse won. Say I know a lot of history, but no, I think it's kind of cool. ARCA does retain its identity, and it's hard for drivers just being what they are as far as composite bodies and expensive engines and expensive tires to go to a short track, and I think that's why you see some of the car counts are down at some of them, and I think it's cool that they retain that identity. They go to the dirt track. They were going to dirt tracks, for as long as they've been a series. They never stopped. It isn't like when NASCAR Bristol and it's dirt track. It's dirt mod. It's a very unique form of racing. It's a series there you can they run road courses, and it's cool that they had that identity. And obviously from where we are as we're staying more towards the NASCAR side and seeing how far we can go on that, and seeing where that's going to take us. So we haven't really done too much track stuff or the dirt stuff, but when you're part of that, and I think it's I onto it forever.
A few more minutes with Andy Jankowiak, Charles Wooten, Chummy coming up here at the before the top of the hour, and we'll put a recap and a finale on the Season 3 of Finish Line. Thanks to everybody joining us on our Fox Sports Radio affiliates across the Carolinas, iHeartRadio, Community Radio Network, and, of course, thanks to Rocket Media, LSRTV Productions for having you now, Andy, on video. We've come up in the world, haven't we, my friend?
a vertical video.
Vertical, horizontal, potatoes, tomatoes. You're still making it happen, though, Andy J. Thank you, brother, for sure. Hey, man, 2022, your plans going towards ROC Championship. You're focusing more full-time in the ARCA Menard Series National Tour. What is the Buffalo Missile got up his sleeve, Andy Jankowiak?
I never know I'm going to get there. I know that I'm going to go run it because I love indoors, the indoor auto racing series. So we town coming up in a couple of weeks. We got Atlantic City coming up after that. We are going to do the ARCA car. We are currently seeking sponsorship for the ARCA car. Things in the works, but we're just waiting to see what's gonna pan out. We're talking to everybody that we can talk to on that. Our plan could be anywhere from basis to 15, depending on where we end up as far as sponsorship. But we have a couple different in place and just being ready for possibilities. We're excited to see what's going to happen with busting our butts right now, getting these ARCA cars ready, and we're definitely looking to grow and obviously we're sponsorship for that, so we're definitely looking into that and seeing what we can come up with that and seeing where that's all going to go. And no matter how much ARCA racing we do, I'm still going to find time to come on home and support the ROC Modified Series, which has TV doing all its broadcasting now. Be a stream, or they have a broadcast that'll be right on TV. Exciting things going on with the ROC Mod Tour. As far as the Wheeling Modified Tour, waiting to see with Steve, but with everything there sort of week by week. So we'll just see what happens with that, and we're gonna try to run. I want to run Stafford some this year. I've been there again for a couple years, and just to schedule it. And we love running the tri-track modified whenever we can run it. We did run Star last year, but it just seemed like every time we were out there there was some sort of conflict. So we have we find.
And I will say this much. If there's anybody out there that wants to sponsor this young man and this talent in racing, for sure, Andy Jankowiak has got it, whether it's ARCA, late models, modified, of course, the modified car. He loves the modifieds. And in addition to that, running those indoor racing events, and he's one hell of a wheelman in those as well. He loves those. Contact Andy Jankowiak. I don't know if Jay's going to get mad if I give you the number publicly. 716-830-1305. 716-830-1305. And I know that he would be a great in for your business in racing for a sponsor on his race car. That you just came back from PRI. I missed you at PRI. I didn't get to go to PRI this year. I had other obligations, other things going on. And that's how I know how much you love and care about me, Andy J, because you literally messaged me and I was like, dude, we didn't do dinner this year, Wesley. You broke tradition. So I got to buy you 2 dinners next year when we go to Indianapolis, Andy.
I'll take you up on it, man. I'll be looking forward to it. We'll get back on track here. We missed 2 years of COVID, so
yes.
That's some eating. As far as everything we as far as getting in touch with our race, we are very active in media. We use the Andy J Racing handle. Mainly, I do the Facebook stuff. So if you want to get a hold of me, with Andy J Racing personal Facebook.
Yeah.
We're on Twitter at Andy Jankowiak, and Instagram at Andy_Jankowiak. We try to do as much as we can with the Twitter stuff, and as far as the sponsorship stuff, as far as ARCA goes, we're very affordable, and we try to get out there. We try to do the best job we can for our sponsors. Anyone that sponsors with the ARCA car, we always put them on Fight the Midget for a little additional exposure, and we work really hard with the social media to push stuff and have fun with it and doing whatever we can to kind of help our partners. So anyone that wants to definitely look us up.
Yeah, man, I'll tell you what, it's going to be a good one for sure, definitely. Well, listen, Andy, we appreciate you being on Finish Line. Thank you so much for your many, many years of friendship, what you do in the industry, whether it's ARCA to the modifieds to the indoor racing. I know they're going to be filming those midget cars. Are you going to be at the Rumble at Fort Wayne this weekend? Are you going to be there in Indiana, or are you just going to run the indoor racing series?
If anyone needs a
Can't hear you.
driver,
Oh, there you go.
let me know. But one of these days we'll make it out. We're getting ready for Allentown, Pennsylvania, and then Atlantic City, both January and Dorado race series. So those are my favorite. I'm really looking forward to it.
Always fun times having him on the program. Andy Jankowiak, we appreciate you, buddy. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year to you, buddy. And we'll grab you again in 2022, sir.
Thank you so much, Easley.
Not a problem, buddy. And, of course, the winner of the Ken Schrader Speedway Illustrated Excellence of Motorsports Award winner, again, recipient, is Tonawanda, New York's Andy Jankowiak, joining us here on Finish Line. Well, we have reached the end of the pinnacle, and there's one more guest. There's one more segment. And it's the guy that's always in my ear. He finally gets a segment. We're going to talk about dirt track racing. And, of course, from Wichita Falls, Texas, it is Charles Wooten. Charles, you can cue up some music in the background. You know, you're kind of you're a guest music as well. You know, you get the music. Get a segment going. You get a segment. Yeah, go ahead. For sure. Joining us, of course. Man, that's the lineup music. You're in the lineup. You're a guest. No, I'm just messing. You do what you want to do. He runs the boards, guys. Listen, the video production has got taken to another level because of this man, Jeff Stabnow, Rocket Media, and LSRTV Productions, and it would not be possible without the guy that's joining us now, talking dirt track racing. He loves dirt track racing. I'm the legend. Exactly. I'm the legend. You're the
No.
The legend is in the house. Charles Wooten, a.k.a., of course, the legend. Man, what's your take of dirt track racing this year, bud? I mean, I know you love dirt track racing. You're kind of former worker with Lucas Oil Productions, former worker with, of course, Race on Texas and other things along the way. Done some flow racing broadcasting in the past. Dirt track racing, as we close 2022, we talked about NASCAR with Doug Rice, and honestly, that's probably the pinnacle in pavement. Where do you see the pinnacle of dirt racing being?
I think it's going to grow. I wanted to talk a little bit more about it earlier when we were talking to PRN. It's all MRN in this shirt too, but I really think dirt racing is growing, and I think part of that is because of Kyle Larson and kind of merging the two worlds together. One thing I've said this for years, and one thing I want to see in the future, I want to see more dirt racing on mainstream TV. Yes, flow racing's nice. Race on Texas. Well, there's one that's 2 letters and it's not very nice. And we won't mention him. But, there are a lot of good channels out there that are streaming platforms, and I like streaming because I can watch it on my apps. But I'd love to see more World of Outlaws and some of these dirt races on TV. I would love to get a poll and ask how many people, on the NASCAR side of things, even knew who Kyle Larson was before he got a NASCAR ride. Because I want to see that dirt, no offense to the World of Outlaws, but I don't think their promotion side does enough. Get that stuff on TV. They did a little on CBS this year or last year, but I want to see more dirt on TV so we can get that talent. Maybe we can get more in NASCAR.
Sure. Of course. And I will say this, honestly, as we close 2021 with Finish Line's finale, Charles, and we move into 2022, me and you talked about this a little bit yesterday. There's no off season anymore in dirt track racing. And now the reality is there's not an off season in pavement racing anymore. Sure, NASCAR might end in November. but you've got the Snowball Derby that just finished a couple of weeks ago. You've got the oh my goodness, you got the Red Bud race or the big race going on, the Governor's Cup, going down in New Smyrna in Florida in a few weeks, right after New Year's. You have the New Year's Eve Street Stock Bash Nationals, which Ron Barfield will be one of our first guests on Finish Line on January the 5th to promote that big event that I'm so excited to be a part of for now 9 out of 12 years. There is the Ice Bowl at Talladega the same weekend. You have the New Year's event at Cochran, which actually, because of the tire apocalypse, they decided to postpone that event. You've got the Chili Bowl. You've got the Karting Chili Bowl. You have WKA at Daytona. You have the Rolex 24. Next thing you know, you're down in Daytona and Volusia and East Bay and Ocala and Bubba and Hendry County now in the mix for Speed Weeks. All Tech in the mix for Speed Weeks. There is no off season anymore, Charles. It's Speed Weeks and then it's Daytona and then you're wide the hell open.
Yeah, there really is no no off weeks, and as a racing fan, it's awesome. I get to watch dirt racing year round. On the flip side of that, I do know a lot of racers, and I almost wonder how that affects the lower budget guys, that don't have the engine that can go, 24/7, 7 days a week, all year long, compared to, these big guys out there that, oh man, the motor blew up. Oh, let's go get one out of the trailer. Who cares? Where you got your local guy that doesn't have 10 motors laying around. So, it's a toss up. It's good and bad, I think, for the industry, really.
Finish Line. Again, our final guest, Charles Wooten, the guy that's normally in my ear all the time behind the scenes. Now you get to hear him, and you get to hear his passion in the world of dirt track racing here in our final segment here on the program. By the way, could not do it without the thanks of people like him. And then, of course, our sponsors, including Kate Dillon and CrateInsider.com of many years. Thanks to Kate and Tori Radford. Car show coming up in a few weeks. We'll have Kate on Finish Line on the January 5th edition to promote the Cars Racing Show, as that is the second annual event in the Hickory Metro Convention Center. That happened last year. I was a part of that as a silent partner last year, involved in the marketing and the promotion side of it to make that go on when PRI was put aside because of COVID. And they just came back from Indianapolis. And I do want to say it was great to see the Racetrack Business Conference and SEMA, the RPM workshop meetings, and, of course, the Performance Racing Industry Show for its 33rd year be able to happen in Indianapolis. And here's to a bigger and a brighter future for that as well. Charles, sprint car racing. Man, you've got the USCS, the ACSC sprints. You've got obviously the World of Outlaws. You have the All Circuit Champions. And I will say this as well, Charles. They just announced at PRI the other week ago the Dirt Car Extreme Outlaw Series, which is now going to be, and I know you're going to love this, non-wing sprint cars and mini midget series as well with the World Racing Group.
Well, first off, we got to backtrack here for all the people out there tuning in and watching. I'm going to break it down for you. There is no such thing as a non-wing sprint car. There is a sprint car. Original sprint cars didn't have wings. Then people got scared because they were going too fast and put wings on them to make them a little slower. So I absolutely love what everyone else calls a non-wing sprint car. Sprint car racing. Take the wing off. Don't be a wuss about it. Go out there and really have no downforce on that car and see what you can do. To me, that is where the real men separate themselves from, somebody who thinks they need that extra little downforce to help them keep them on the track.
And I will tell you this as well, Charles. Are you a fan of the wing or the non-wing?
I like both, but if I had to pick, I would go with non-wing or what they call non-wing. I call it a sprint car. On select tracks. I don't think there's a lot of tracks around here that are good for this non-wing class, but no, I would definitely go with the non-wing class, and I'm doing air quotes even though you can't see them. I would go with that. I think it's more of a wheelman's car. You really got to know how to wheel it around the track. You've got to use throttle control. It's not as much full throttle, turn the car and, stick it to the track. And that being said, I don't like these tracks where they go and put, 200 gallons of water on it and it's a sticky, sloppy track. I don't like that. I like the dry, slick track. I think those also are a wheelman's track. You really got to know how to drive the car then.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I'm a fan of sprint car racing. I feel like I've seen some really good races with the wings. I've announced many races before with World Racing Group as well as with USAC, and I've always said this honestly, Charles. You want to see the true caliber of a talented racer? Take the damn wings off the car. Take the front wing off. Take the top one off. Put these guys on the racetrack with the non-wings, and it really shows what type of talented drivers you are, because when you're wing racing, the wings are helping you balance the car and negotiate and curve and work around. When you're non-wing, it's all about that man in that cockpit and the way he is driving ability, durability, his excellence proves that he deserves to be the guy to go after that checkered flag and trophy.
Yeah, and a prime example of what you can see if you go to a local dirt track, and this is all the way from go-karts to 410 sprint cars, and you say, okay, it's a winged race, whatever. There's 40 winged sprint cars there, and they come out and say, okay, we're going to do a 500 to win or 1,000 to win. For anybody, they'll take all the wings off and come out there, and you'll probably have 10 of those cars come out there. A lot of them won't do it. I don't know if they're just scared of it or what the deal is, but a fraction of the cars will actually go out there and run for non-wing.
The discussion, obviously, we wanted to talk about today on Finish Line, Charles, is the state of dirt track racing. We heard it about NASCAR with Doug Rice. We heard, Andy and Stacy and Chandler on pavement and dirt kind of give their take on things. Dirt track racing, there is a tire shortage. There is a part shortage. We are dealing with a crazy time in our country, not just as personal people to get by in the civilian world, but in the industry, for people that work in the industry like you and I, like so many others. Where do you see the world of dirt track racing head post-COVID? We're not even done with COVID. Here comes the Omni variant. And in addition to that, trying to go into 2022.
And I've done a lot of research into this. I will not explain why, but I don't see us getting any better in 2022 as far as maybe COVID's gone, whatever the 20th strain will be here, I don't know. But, I don't think the tire shortage is going to be gone. And also, you're running into computer part shortages too, which, you can't go to the track, so you watch it online. Well, those computers break and they need to replace them and they can't replace them. So it's a kind of a never-ending cycle. I do think dirt racing and especially exploded this year, but I think it's because last year nobody really got to do any kind of racing. So as soon as they came back, everybody went. That didn't help the tire shortage at all either. So if the tire shortage continues, maybe these tracks should run every other weekend and limit their big races and run maybe 3 big races instead of 6. So these guys can take time to recoup tires. The tire makers have time to, restock. You're going to have to reevaluate some of that stuff and change the way you're doing it. You can't go every week and then, for 6 months or whatever it is, and then go back-to-back big races. You've got to have time to replenish stock on stuff.
And, as we move into what will be the end of the season for us as we go into 2022, we also look at dirt track racing. We look at pavement racing. We look at drag racing. And Charles, I have to say, buddy, I agree with you. We are not ahead of the curve. We might be ahead of the curve of trying to get back to normalcy with our stuff with this crazy world called COVID, but we're really not. My parents just had COVID about a month or so ago.
fighting being sick and COVID. My uncle got sick. My aunt got sick with COVID and the symptoms of what's going on. So, we might have got lucky last year, the year before when it first come out, where it reared its ugly head and it was really bad. But Charles, I will tell you this, you look at things differently when it hits home. And in my opinion, after seeing what they went through, what my grandmother went through, being on an oxygen, not a ventilator, but being on oxygen just to be able to try to have, breathe, because having trouble breathing because of all of these crazy. We're not done. We're not done. That's still going. So, people can say, well, we're in this era of sickness is done and we need to all just stop and reset and let's go back to normalcy, and then the dirt track world as well and the NASCAR world as well. But the thing is, you got to do it, Charles, but you got to do it safe. We've all got to find a way to realize we're all stubborn people in this world that we live in. We all want things done a certain way. As Doug Rice said, we live in a world where it's the me now movement. I want it and I want it now. And if I got to wait for it, damn it all, I'm not going to have the patience for it, because I'm just going to kick you to the curb and I'm going to go on to the next great thing. It happens in life. It happens in jobs. It happens in relationships. It happens in marriage. And certainly it happens in this motorsports industry. You can be on the top of the world 1 minute in dirt and pavement, Charles. The next big thing, you fall, you struggle, you're out, someone else is in. But the fact of the matter is we need to realize that amongst all that we've dealt with here in the last year with COVID, plus dealing with the shortage of parts, with the things of changes in format and racing and doing races without fans in the stands or doing the multi-streaming broadcasting, and now we're getting back to some normalcy. We've got to continue this, Charles. We want to, but it's got to be done safely, for sure.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I've said for a couple of months now, I honestly think COVID is really flu 2.0. I don't think it's ever going to go away. And, you're going to have a yearly shot just like you do the flu. I'm not sitting here saying get the shot, don't get the shot. I'm not condoning either way. It's up to, whoever does it. I will say, I've heard a lot of the weird horror stories. I have both of my shots. I didn't get the third booster because, well, I'm social distancing. I don't go anywhere. But I did get both the shots, and I haven't.
He don't want to be on camera. He don't want to be on camera, okay?
Yeah, I might get COVID from it, but I've got both of my shots. I didn't grow a third arm or something, so I definitely think if you feel like you need it, you need it. If you think you're superhuman, then don't get it. But if you don't get it, then stay away from me. So, it's your choice. But yeah, I think we need to be safe. And whatever, safe is different for each person. But, as far as me, if I was going to go in public, I'm going to get it. I think we do need to be safe.
Charles, let's go back into another topic involving dirt track racing, because we could talk about COVID. We could talk about all the things that we've dealt with here in the last couple of years. And again, by the way, as I said, COVID is still out there. It's still real. There's still sickness. You got to do what you got to do to take care of yourself. I'm in no way a national personality involved in the media as far as the news. And, I'm a motorsports guy. I'm a sports broadcaster. But I will tell you, losing people that have had COVID, seeing my own family that have dealt with it here in the last month or so, still people dealing with it. And, cut off the news. Don't listen to the BS that's on the news today. You be your own critic. You be your own assumption of what you think and don't think. Don't take the political side of it out of the way. We just had Doug Rice on. Steve Richards. Hopefully he gets back to being better. One of the best pit reporter radio broadcasters in the industry for NASCAR. Top of the world at Texas a couple of weeks ago in November, and then he was down down for the count
like a month, but right before Thanksgiving, and he's still in the hospital recuperating from COVID on a ventilator. I think of Alton Wilson, our good friend Kelly Carlton, Kelcar, and what he's done with the Gateway Dirt Nationals, the Ultimate Super Late Model Southeast, 602 Late Model Series, the SCDRA front wheel drive cars. His friend Alton Wilson has been right there with him. I've known him for almost 5-6 years. Great guy. Knocked flat on his tail, almost on his deathbed, Charles. And then he came back up, and he's been doing really, really well. So God is good. Medicine is good. And protecting yourself is good as well. I want to drop this subject, though, Charles. I did just want to put that little final exclamation point on the checkered for that. What's better racing on dirt, Charles, do you feel, as we move into 2022? Who's got the momentum? Is it sprint cars? Is it late models, modifieds? And hell, I'll even be suffice to say, is it crate racing and street stocks possibly as well?
You know, I think you gave me a loaded question there, Wesley. I honestly, I think it depends on where you're at. Because if you come up here, to North Texas, we've got a lot of limited late models or limited modifieds, sport mods, whatever you want to call them, modifieds.
Sure.
Rarely do we see any sprint cars. They're up in Oklahoma, but they don't come down here. I think the roads are too bad or something. But, you go down to South Texas, to like South Texas Speedway and places, they've got a lot of late models down there. So,
Sure.
I think it kind of varies just depending on where you're going. Like I said, you go to Oklahoma, there'll be 30 sprint cars there on a night. You come here, we may pull 10 if they have a sprint car night. So, yeah, I really think it just depends on where you're at in the country and what's big in that area. I know for a while, and I think this class may be popular everywhere, whether you call them pony stocks, junker cars, whatever they may be, the little 4 cylinders that you get out of a junkyard, put a roll cage in it and race it.
Sure.
Those are popular everywhere because they're cheap. They're an economy class. We had 40 of them at the local track here when they were at their peak. And of course we wrecked half the field, but they're popular and they're cheaper to repair.
Right, for sure. Definitely. Yeah. Charles, as a couple more questions and we'll let you go. By the way, at the top of the hour, we got to pause for our Carolina affiliates if they've got to jump offline. If you want to stay, this is the last show. Right now, tentatively, we're going to take off for about 20 days. We're going to come back in 3 weeks' time. It looks like probably January the 5th. I will tell you that I'm trying to talk to our producers and our radio affiliates about possibly going into a primetime format. Obviously, it'll be better for me. It'll be better for Charles. And we think it might be a different broadband base of grabbing different audience listeners. Obviously, we've started Finish Line in the morning show format. It's always been 11 Eastern. I've had that spot for 3 years now, post-pandemic, and then we brought it back probably around July, August of last year because of COVID. So, I really just want to kind of see where we go with that. I would love to do a primetime spot, maybe drive time. I know me and Charles have talked about that, possibly a 3 or 4 p.m. Eastern time spot in the afternoon. People driving down the road. And then, of course, again, Finish Line is available live when we're on the air, but it's also on podcasts across America. iHeartRadio, iTunes Radio, TuneIn, Spreaker, Spotify, you name it, Mixler. Castbox, the podcast replay outlets out there have the opportunity for you to go back, re-listen, skip, go to certain segment interviews. If you want to watch this interview instead of listening to that interview, we have those available first. Charles, we move into 2022. Obviously, what are we going to have to do short track racing wise to still keep ourselves up at that entity amongst all that we're dealing with the rising gas prices, with, we talked about COVID, but I don't want to open that Pandora's box again with, obviously inflation. Could we possibly go into a recession? There's a lot of worries about that. What do we do to just keep motorsports going, to make sure we have a job?
Uh, Again, I think it's, the same way with COVID about being smart. You just got to be smart about how you do things. If there's a tire shortage, cut back on your races. If you want to run every week and you run 50 lap features, try running, a 30 lap feature or something. Do what you got to do to save the equipment you have so it will last longer until this is over. Because all the reports I've seen, this shortage is gonna be here till at least 2023. So you've got to do what you got to do to conserve and save what you have. Because unfortunately, tires are not really a renewable source. So, I mean, I guess you could send them in and they can redo them and make new tires out of them. But yeah, cut your laps back, do fewer races, whatever you got to do to help the drivers that help you make a living out of your track come when they need or when they can be there. So you got to, make a circle. You help me, I help you.
And here's the thing of what happened, because I've had some people ask me this question. Well, Wesley, you work in the broadcast industry, you work in the racing industry, you work in the sports industry, and I will tell you that as well, Charles. It's not just in racing, buddy. It's in sports in general. There is a shortage of officials in high school and college basketball. There's literally a rescheduling being done. There's literally schools that are stepping up now and they're saying, okay, well, we used to have 10 games that are non-conference basketball, baseball. Well, we don't want to play you no more because it doesn't mean anything. We just want to play conference play. Well, then what are you doing then, Charles? And I know this is not a sports show, but it is a racing show. But you're taking, first off, you're taking the kids or the athletes' abilities away of trying to, get seat time, whether it's in a race car, say on a basketball court or a football field or a diamond. Or a court, you got to be able to play. You got to practice. You got to play other teams. But with the shortage of umpires or referees, officials, obviously there's still the COVID going on in the school system. People do not want to play unless it means something. And the same thing could be done in racing. Are we doing too much racing? Do we need to reconsider things? Do we need to readjust things? And I know I've said several times, Charles, about, well, we need to work together. Tracks need to work together. Sanctioning bodies need to work together. Charles, I will say this, though, and I want to get your take on it. The powers that be of dirt late model racing, the powers, Lucas Oil, World of Outlaws, Ironman Late Model Series, the Southern All-Stars, all the big dirt late model brands came together with Lucas Oil and the World Racing Group, World of Outlaws, at PRI in Indianapolis. And it sounds like they've come up with a unified, or they're working on a unified set of rules that should help the sport for not just on the national level, but the regional level, which hopefully it'll go down to the weekly level to increase dirt super late model car counts.
Yeah, I mean, anything you can do to increase car count, I think is good. It's a vicious cycle. If you can increase car count, you can get more fans there. You get more fans, you sell more hot dogs and drinks. So, the more hot dogs and drinks you sell, the bigger the purse you can give for the drivers. Then in turn, more drivers. It really is. It's a cycle. So, I think you've always got to start with whatever you can do to get more drivers, because, you put on a 5,000 to win race and there's, 10 cars, you're going to have some fans there. You put it on and they know there's going to be 40, 50 cars there, you're going to have more fans show up. It's just a cycle, and that's what you need. You need to get more cars equals more fans, and then potentially more cars with a bigger purse. So, like I said, it's just a circle of life.
Charles, what are we going to do with ourselves for 3 weeks?
I'm going to eat turkey and ham and mac and cheese. I don't know what you're going to do. I'm going to gain a few pounds and then tell myself I'm going to work it off at the new year and then not work it off.
Step on the scale and go like, oh my goodness, what was I thinking? Hey, listen, in all seriousness, you can cue up our exit music because it is time to exit stage right and call it a night, call it a day, call it a season on season 3 of Finish Line. But I do want to say before I do let you go, buddy, thank you for taking this show to the next level. It's been on radio for about 2.5, 3 years.
and now putting it into video format. There's so much work that goes behind. I know that you put so many effortless hours into doing all of the graphics and the production. I do what's my can on my end to set the stage, to get the lineups, but it takes a team, and I want to Jeff Stabnow and yourself, Charles, for stepping up Finish Line, not just go from a radio podcast format, but to now being on video as well this year, the last couple of months, buddy. Looking forward to next year.
Definitely looking forward to it myself.
All right. Well, listen, I want to send a big thank you to, of course, the sponsors. I want to say thanks again to DirtCarLift.com, Dean Delmar, Trico Tools. They've been in since the inception of this idea back 4 years ago, and they've been on board. Thanks to Kate Dillon and CrateInsider.com and her endearing friendship for racing and me knowing her for over a decade. She's a sweet, beautiful lady for the industry. And, of course, go support them in the car show. And most importantly, thanks also to Tanya McAllister, MPM Marketing, another great racer friend. I watched her father Lee race back in the day when I was young as a kid. And Tanya McAllister has done great things with MPM Marketing and Market with MPM. Charles, we're going to loop this up to go again one more time because I want to get this out. I want to thank everybody that has been guest on Finish Line this year for 2021, for 2020, 2019, 2018 in the summer when the idea came to program to make it be what it is. I want to thank so many people. I want to thank, of course, the production, everybody involved with what they've done on the radio affiliates, 620 DNC, 1080 WTSY, 1350 WXBX, and 97.4 WCYB up in Wilmington for the Carolina affiliates. For your enjoyment of talk about in this industry, and most of all, putting it on the airwaves. Thanks to iHeartRadio Sports, the Community Radio Network, the Fox Sports Radio affiliates. There's so many people. Thank you to the race fan. Dirt, pavement, drag racing, karting, demolition derbies, monster trucks, it doesn't matter. You are the heartbeat of why this show goes on. You're a heartbeat of why this sport goes on. Through all that we've gone through in this country, there is a finish line. We will reach that, and we will all be able to prosper and say that we did it, and we did it the right way. And most of all, as a friend of mine told me last night, good will always overcome evil. Kill people with kindness. Be good to one and love one another. And most importantly, never, ever take life for granted. Especially with all we've gone through, we never know when your finish line or mine will be. Be good to one another. Season 4 of Finish Line comes back on January 5th. For Jeff Stabnow, Charles Wooten, and of course for Rocket Media and LSRTV Productions, all of our radio crew, I'm Wesley Outland. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Jesus is the reason for the season, and we'll see you in 2022.
Let me tell you about MPM McAllister Precision Marketing. They can assist up-and-coming racers with career advancement, promotion, and assist in sponsorship procurement. MPM also has media and professional etiquette training. They work with premier driver development teams and limited late models to late models, and they also help the teams to make it up to the levels of K&N, ARCA, Truck Series, and even NASCAR Xfinity. Contact Tanya McAllister today at McAllister Precision Marketing, 803-361-6199. Today, get on the board with MPM.
CrateInsider.com is your one source for crate racing tech and more. Whether you currently race with a crate engine or you are thinking about getting into the sport, our website has what you need. CrateInsider.com has tech videos, interviews with experts, and the best products in the industry. Dyno tested and proven, so we know they are the best products for crate engines. Visit CrateInsider.com today to get on the fast track to victory lane.
If you have not ordered at DirtCarLift.com in the motorsports racing world, you are absolutely way behind. But if you are an existing customer of the Dirt Car Lift product, you already know about why they use the concept of stop jacking and start lifting. DirtCarLift.com helps make things very easier in the pit area. Whether you need to change a flat tire, make a shock or spring adjustment, DirtCarLift.com can get all four sides up immediately than having to go around from side to side to car to car. By the way, they have a special package and price for existing customers with a few changes to make your life a little easier. Give them a call at DirtCarLift.com today. Call them up again at 770-898-3907. 770-898-3907. And find out why the concept is true to stop jacking and start lifting with DirtCarLift.com at the races today.
This episode is an exclusive production solely for the private, non-commercial use of our listening audience. Any publication, reproduction, transmission of the accounts without the express written consent or permission is restricted and prohibited. To hear this replay or other previous podcasts, download on iHeartRadio, iTunes Radio, and TuneIn. As always, this show is for you. Thank you for listening.